Good afternoon guys and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the 5 things that I hate about my Jeep TJ. Alright, so one of the biggest things I hate about my Jeep TJ is the constant wind noise I get when I'm driving on the highway. Alright, so the second thing I hate about my Jeep TJ is the lack of space. Now we all know that, or if you've ever owned a TJ before, they come with as little space as possible. Enough for 2 people, and if you take the back seats out, like I have, you've probably got just enough room to fit maybe a camping chair, a chili bin or an esky, depending on where you live and you want to call it. But a camping chair, an esky, maybe a couple pillows, and that's about it. So if you've got your back seats in, you got just a little bit of space between the back seat and like the rear window and the tailgate. And if you want to go camping, you want to take a tent, you want to take more than 2 people, all we got is this little bit of space here, and that's it. Really should have brought out a 4-door option. But second thing, lack of space. It absolutely sucks. Alright, so number 3 on the top 5 things that I hate about my Jeep TJ is fuel economy. Now I knew what I was getting into when I was buying this Jeep. It's got a 4-litre straight 6. It is box shaped, the most less aerodynamic thing in the world. I think a cow is more aerodynamic than a Jeep. So the fuel economy is super poor. So you really got to think about that when you're going on long trips. Doing a lot of beach driving and hours of driving, that you've got really poor fuel economy. Now I did know this buying this Jeep, so I'm not surprised by it, where a lot of people buy a Jeep and they're like, oh, what can I do to get better fuel economy? You can't really do anything. You have a flat windscreen, you've got a flat front, and you got a big-ish motor under the bonnet. The Jeep doesn't really weigh a lot, so you can't really take more things off it, or you run smaller tyres, but you can't go as far off-road. So fuel economy. Be better if, I'm sure a lot more people would probably buy them if they were better on fuel. I mean, you can get the 4-cylinder, but you can't get that in Australia, so we're kind of stuck with the 4-litre straight 6, which is a great motor, but just fuel economy. You got to take extra jerry cans or get a long range fuel tank if you want to do long distances. In Australia, so things are so far apart, you can travel for 100 k's just to get to the next town. So for Australian driving, you either got to have a long range fuel tank or carry multiple jerry cans, which is more things in a less amount of space. So you kind of kick yourself in the ass with both things. But fuel economy, I'm sure a lot of other people will be saying the same thing. It's bad, but you can't get over it because the Jeep, and you absolutely love it. Alright, so number 4 on the top 5 things that I hate about my Jeep TJ is on-road handling. Now a lot of you are probably thinking, but it's like you buy it because it's an off-road vehicle. It's true, and I'm really happy with the off-road capabilities of it. But I've driven other 4-wheel drives that have great on-road handling, and they kind of drive more like a car, but are still very capable off-road. Now I know the Jeep's like a very raw base. It's very simple, and I love that about it. It's very simple to work on, but I wish Jeep had come up with a way that it would be a lot smoother on road, which actually makes driving those long distances a lot more pleasurable, and we might even get a bit better fuel economy because the car's not working as hard. But then again, if I want something that wants to handle really well, I'd probably go out and buy a sports car instead. But you get the good with the bad. Great off-road, but doesn't handle that great on-road. So that's what I hate about my Jeep TJ. Now on to number 5. Alright, so number 5, the 5th and final thing that I hate about my Jeep TJ is the price of replacement parts and aftermarket parts. Now I don't know if this is just an Australian thing or it's a kind of a worldwide thing, but in Australia to get any sort of genuine Jeep parts or even China-made parts in Australia is very expensive. I had to replace the radiator last week. So one for a Toyota Hilux would be, my brother-in-law paid $75 for his radiator. I paid $189, and that was the cheapest one that I could find. And then also took a few days to ship it here as well, even though it was an Australian-based company. So pretty much twice the price for a radiator. Also had to replace the water pump. One for, I think it was a Nissan Navara. I had a look at the price for one of those just to kind of compare. It was $72 for a Nissan Navara one. I paid $168 from a local shop for a brand new water pump. And then if you want to go aftermarket bumpers, flares, wheels and stuff like that, the bumpers aren't actually that expensive. It's like $365 for a replacement bumper, but it's the shipping costs. It's almost $1,000 to get it shipped from the States to Australia. So it makes getting aftermarket parts and modifying your Jeep just that little bit harder. You'd probably do so much more if shipping and overall cost of that stuff wasn't so expensive. Alright, so I also asked you guys on Instagram, if you follow us on Instagram at BrumTheJeep, the things that you hate about your Jeep TJ. And these are some of the answers. The noise from a soft top when you're trying to talk to a passenger. Just like my first one, it's really annoying. Can't really have a full conversation. No air conditioning in Greece, it's way too hot. Depending on what year your Jeep is, you probably get air conditioning installed, but it'd probably be quite expensive. I've got aircon in my 05 Jeep, so it's not too bad, but I feel your pain. My last TJ didn't have air conditioning, and in Australian summer it was almost there's a fly on my face. It's almost unbearable to sit in your Jeep in summer with the engine running. Check my story. I checked his story. What broke on his Jeep. I think the belt came off and it busted. I can't remember what it broke, but he was not having a good day with his Jeep. Trying to convince people that 9 miles per gallon is good fuel economy. Again, bad fuel economy. If you're getting 9 miles per gallon on your Jeep, that'd be fantastic. Not sure what I get to mine, but it's definitely not that good. Having to wash it all the time, it's kind of like a preference between I like to wash mine all the time and keep it in really good condition. Other people do it like kind of once a year, which is fine. I got no issues with that. The fact I sold it, well, you probably shouldn't have sold it. I hope you buy another one in the future. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I'd hate if I sold my Jeep. Nothing. Sweet. Must have a pretty awesome Jeep. I can appreciate that. The aerodynamics, again, it's going to be poor aerodynamics, accounts for poor fuel economy and all that sort of stuff, so I feel your pain there. Rust, if you're in the States, certain states salt their roads, or certain countries salt their roads. In the state I live in Australia, we don't get snow, so we don't salt our roads, but I do a lot of beach driving, so I get a little bit of surface rust, but you just do WD-40 and rust kill, it sorts it out. It's wrecked right now. That would absolutely suck. I feel your pain, mate. I wish that on nobody. And that's it. So I want to thank you guys for your comments. You guys are awesome. So that's pretty much it for today. I'd like to know what you hate about your Jeep. So if you've got a couple of things that I didn't mention there, please comment below. I'd love to hear it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.